It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great.
Well, getting a little wild and crazy here on a Sunday. This has been quite the 4th of July weekend. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. I'm Big Daddy Gonzo. There's so much going on. I can't even do fancy graphics. I'm not even going to slide anything. We're not doing a walk-off.
Nope.
It is All-Star Weekend, so we're just going to leave the walk-offs and we're going to do a little something on the home run derby. We're going to cover the latest news from that. We are covering late-breaking news about the NBA. But I'm gonna sneak late breaking news in on you really quick here because you're such a women's a little late breaking news soccer fan that you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, USA, yeehaw!
Go Team USA!
Congratulations, ladies. Even though we don't look like a couple of soccer fans, do we?
I don't think either of us have ever played soccer.
I have played soccer.
I mean, like within the last 40 years.
I practiced 5 times. I played in 1.5 games. I rolled my ankle, and I said, this game sucks. And
Were you a forward or a backward?
I was actually a halfback.
Oh, okay.
Because I was pretty good at dribbling the ball.
Okay.
They put you through drills when you're a kid, and it's like, okay, he doesn't fall on his face.
Yeah, I've never played any form of competitive soccer. I played backyard soccer, maybe when I was like 7 or 8, but I think that was the extent of my soccerness.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a natural talent for controlling things with my feet for some strange reason.
Cool.
I'm not going to drive with my feet or nothing.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm really milking this whole soccer thing.
You play the piano?
He is like Mr. No Soccer. He's like, really? We're going to talk about soccer?
I don't care. I'm honestly,
I don't care.
Listen, we all watch our own stuff. I'm not a soccer guy. I'm not denouncing it. I'm obviously patriotic, great for the American team, great for the women.
It had a carryover for me because right afterwards they had an MLS game. The New York Red Bulls versus the Atlanta. I don't know what they are in Atlanta.
Okay.
But they had a pretty good crowd, 26,000 rabid fans yelling, chanting, screaming, hooting, hollering.
That's MLS? Is that
MLS,
yeah.
And that was, I believe that was in Atlanta.
I'm surprised there's not a team down here in South Florida. Or is
There's
there?
going to be.
Because, I mean, with all the popularity, I know David Beckham was getting involved with
that's
something.
going to be the team.
Yeah, that's what they're doing? Okay,
Yeah,
so that's being fast-tracked right now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because there's so much, I mean, the diversity in culture down here, I mean, there's so much that would be
of
plus
course, the
soccer.
Latinos love it.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
But, I mean, since we're talking racial, here's the key for soccer success in the United States. And it's literally the same key for basketball success in the United States. And that's elite African-American athletes.
Okay.
The interest of African-American teens who are, there's a lot of elite athletes that happen to be African-Americans. Mm-hmm. And if you notice, the more homogeneously Caucasian teams that we send out there, the more especially in the men's bracket, they lose. They're done. Why? Because they don't have the skill, they don't have the athleticism. And you look in the European leagues, you have some of the like the French African, the Ghanan. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of Ghanan pros, and so what you're seeing is the young African American men in America are getting interested in soccer. And they're getting really good at it.
That's a good thing.
And that's a good sign for the men, but for the women,
now
it doesn't matter because they've got black girls, Italian girls, white girls, Hispanic girls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they
pretty diverse,
a diverse bunch.
But now let me play devil's advocate for you here. Dominating countries in soccer for many years: Germany, England, France.
Oh yeah, white girls.
I mean, in the men's division as well. I mean, those countries have ruled it for a century.
Right.
So what I'm saying is how that kind of goes somewhat against the argument in terms of what you're saying.
Well,
I'm not debating the fact of,
right.
yes, we do have a lot of athletes here with untapped potential.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, there's no question there. But I think it's more an understanding of the sport. It's also, like you said, tapping that athletic potential. And then I think coaching goes a long way too. I think coaching in certain sports is much more important than others, and soccer is clearly one of those sports.
Right.
So, again, there's...
We went and got a South African coach on the girls' team, on the ladies' team, women's team, sorry. It's bad enough. I'm skirting up against the borderline of racism.
No,
listen,
I'm
being anti-PC too.
You're not stating anything other than fact without opinion.
Gonzo's out of control.
And it's understandable and true. I mean, you only have to look at the demographic of the sports. You mentioned the NBA, and what is it, 88, 90% of the demographic of NBA is black, African American, whatever you want to say. So there's credence there. I mean, there's a reason. Okay.
Well, if you want to talk literal color, there are various shades of brown.
I know. Again, I'm not trying to be anything other than just explain what it is.
See, like this is black.
Okay.
Now there's a couple like C.J. Miles, who just got traded for Dwight Howard. Mm-hmm. He's
darker than most.
Dark brother.
Okay.
He must get out in the sun a lot.
He must. UV 50 not on his shelf.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're mostly Italian, and I'm sure you spend more than 5 minutes in the sun, you turn golden brown.
You know what? I'm a little fair skinned though.
Me.
I got some of that northern in me, so I got to be careful
tan.
too.
I do not tan. I see the freckles. That's all the tans that I have. You can count the number of tans on my arm. It's pale, but
you'll live to be 100 because you won't be dying of any sort of carcinoma that's out there. Now the sunscreens you're trying to protect yourself with are killing you.
Yeah.
So it's just going really well.
It's all going to kill you.
Yeah.
So we've completely brought the room down. How about we jump to the NBA?
Cool. Let's do it.
It's a lot more exciting.
How did we get to carcinoma and skin cancer?
Skin cancer, racism, sexism. Oh my God.
We're on it today.
That's tomorrow night's show.
Yeah. Couple of trades.
That is so tomorrow night. Trades
in the NBA.
Trades. Somebody has taken the deck of cards and there's everybody's face on these cards and just gone and then gone and they're everywhere now. And there's perfidy and there's secrecy
and there's confusion and there's other things too. Do you want to talk Lakers first? You want to kind of get an angle on them?
The boys in purple. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking at the computer because I'm like, no, I don't have a Lakers.
Vegas has them as the top to win it all this year. Okay. I don't know. It scares me a little bit.
Well, this scares a lot of people a little bit, but I know the reason why it scares you, and I'm going to go ahead and let you tell the people what it's all about. The 2/3 of this triumvirate.
Yeah, 2/3. Okay. How about 3/3? How about the whole triumvirate?
You don't think all three of them are going to play more than...
If you put those guys up again, obviously the issue... Cousins was the last of the big names to sign. If you want to even consider him still a big name.
He's a little brittle.
Obviously, he hasn't played more than 50 games in the last 3 seasons. And one of the common themes that we keep going back and forth with.
Not even his rookie season?
No, in the last 3 seasons, I said.
Oh, the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, the last 3 seasons. The things that we've alluded to before is just the fact that
7 years?
Your best 3 players potentially are guys that are never fully on the court. James missing the time this year, having his first big injury. Not to say he's going to get injured again this year, but obviously he's not going to be putting up the minute totals he's put up to this point in his career. He's on the downside of that.
Right.
Davis has missed an average of 20 games over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
You got a Cousins guy that's missed twice that number over the last 3 years.
Well, and I'll say this. Okay, their teammates, some of them in some instances have come to and they've said it's not a matter of toughness. They're hurt. They're injured.
Yeah.
They are injured. That is broke, tore, dislocated. He's hurt. Okay, it's not a matter of him being tough because Davis has played with a lot of small injuries. I mean, I've heard over the last 3 years just nothing about him. He was questionable with a sprained ankle, and he comes out and he drops 23 and 14.
Right, but he also at times have been questioned as being a little bit soft too. So it's the point you make up though is it's hard just by reading an article or a writer's opinion of an athlete and how hurt somebody is. Who's to say if I walk out of bed this morning, I'm hurt. What classifies hurt? Pain tolerance, other things. If you're hurt, you're hurt. These guys are always hurt, and they're always playing hurt because they have to. Otherwise, they wouldn't play. They'd be sitting.
I bet you wish you could have found an injury list from that ditch you dug this morning.
I'm going to suffer for weeks from that ditch this morning.
He's toughing it out. He came in. He's hurting.
Yeah.
He's only playing with one hand. He's got no laptop. He's got no information. All he's got is his phone.
Cousins got exposed last year defensively, and over the last few years, he's not a defensive guy by any stretch. That's going to be a real issue for them. But here, I think is going to be the key.
He gets in the way.
Well, yeah, he's big and strong. I think the key to the Lakers' success this year is going to be Kyle Kuzma. Now, clearly, he was on LeBron James's no-trade list. Okay,
Right.
He's his boy.
He's a rising superstar.
And even just toughness and just the way he plays and all that stuff. Clearly, if you look at the team right now, and I'm sort of discounting Cousins, the big three scoring-wise is going to be clearly James, Davis, and Kuzma. Now, what I think that is going to have to happen is Kuzma is going to have to be the 2. Now, we discussed this before the show. I don't mean it from a talent perspective. Okay, those other 2 players are better than Kuzma.
Yeah,
but what I'm talking about is efficiency and output. Kuzma is going to be
just
playing.
a big lineup.
Kuzma is going to be playing 38 minutes a night. Okay, every game. He's going to have to fill the stat sheet. He's going to have to be the motor on that team. Okay, and overall, if you're
been a 30-minute guy last year,
38 minutes plus, this guy's going to have to be this year. No question, he's going to be on the floor. And if he takes
cardio in, son.
If he takes a step forward and he progresses, and he showed some signs in the playoffs not playoffs, but last year, just being a beast.
Right.
That's going to be the key for them. Is Kuzma's going to have to be the 2, and at times, because these other guys aren't going to be on the floor, he's going to have to be the 1. So if he takes the next step and he's the guy that they are hoping, I'm guessing, or expecting him to be, then the Lakers have a shot to be successful. Now, win a title? I mean, Vegas has got them, like I said, to win the title, number 1 favorite. Give me the field. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I can honestly say that if you can get more than 60 games out of each of those 3 guys in a season and get them all to the playoffs healthy,
okay,
then you got a shot.
Big ifs for 3 guys that don't, 2, I should say. I'm not going to put James as an injury-prone guy because he's not. It was the first time he's ever been hurt. But at 35 or 34, I think he's now going to be 35 this season.
Who, James?
Yeah.
36.
6, is he?
Yeah,
Okay. But he's been
36.
playing forever. My point is that there's no way.
The old man LeBron.
There's no way he's going to be able to continue to play the pace at which he's played.
Remember when he did the LeBrons where he was little young LeBron, he was
Yeah.
grandpa LeBron, he was old man LeBron?
Yeah.
He's closer to old man LeBron right now. I mean, he dyes that beard.
It's going to be difficult for them to live up to the hype and the pressures and stuff that people are going to be demanding.
No, I totally
And there's
agree.
so much dysfunction still with the Lakers. I think they failed all the way through this process. They failed last year, obviously, and what's led up
got
to Magic
freaked
Johnson
out.
leaving. Okay.
Okay.
Johnson's gone. No matter what side you take, okay, he's gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, all the history with the bus organization and who's got the power and who's making the shots and who's making that's a disaster. That hasn't changed.
No.
If you want to consider them in terms of free agency, okay, leading up to the Davis signing, they were trying to get Davis and didn't have him. Okay, and then
swing and a miss.
everybody else they tried to go get, they didn't get anyone, and all of a sudden Davis went to the Lakers. Okay, so maybe again there were some backdoor dealings that we didn't know about that was in. Maybe they weren't ready to come out yet and say it because they were maybe trying to make other deals. But okay, now Davis is there. The other signings they got now was just basically guys that we talked about, just filling out the rest of the rosters. You got a hurt guy in Cousins, who I'm sure they paid too much for. Okay,
Rajon Rondo.
They kept Rondo, which is probably the best thing they would have done because they need
2-year
another guy.
contract.
But the
2
other
years.
the other 2 guys, they signed Quinn Cook back over from the Warriors, who played a total of 30 minutes in the last 3 games of the series against the Raptors when they were a mash unit. So clearly he's either not ready or he's just not living up to expectations. And they got Danny Green, who, again, they had to sign a shooter because they don't have a shooter on that
He's
team.
a sniper.
And last year he shot 45% from 3, by the way, which was his best of his career at the 8 or 9 year mark.
Yeah, well, he had somebody else drawing all the attention.
Apparently so. But either way, I mean, is it going to be expected of him to reach his career best for a second year in a row in a new environment with a different set of, coaching styles and team members and such? Hard to repeat. Hard to repeat your best when so many things around you are changing. So
Right.
my point is the Lakers, I don't think, should be the front runners, and I think you're a fool if you think that you're going to put money down on the Lakers to win the championship next year. Don't think it's going to happen.
Don't be silly.
But what scares me is Vegas is really wrong. So
Good. Let them be.
I don't get it.
Get some of that.
I don't get it.
Get some of that. We are going to get down to handicapping, and we are going to get down to fantasy. We're going to start breaking those segments up because we're going to be changing the start time. What was the date we agreed on?
July 28th.
July 28th. That would be Sunday morning.
Yes. Our target time, we're going at 11 o'clock. We agree?
11 a.m.
Okay.
11 a.m. So, you get you guys used to tuning in at 11 a.m. We will, at that juncture, start with our fantasy previews. some of our handicapping previews.
We'll be leading into the drafts because everybody's going to be doing their
Everybody's
drafts.
already doing mocks at that point.
So we'll have draft information.
It'll be mock fever around this house.
Depending on the timing, the first few weeks we'll really focus on season long, and obviously we'll touch into some daily, but obviously there's not much daily in preseason football. You can, but we're not. I'm not a desperate fantasy guy.
Once we get into the season, we'll start giving our daily recommendations.
For sure.
You know, or that week's recommendations, if you will, as the injuries go forward. And then we'll be integrating it with the website that will be updatable as you can go tune in, as you can log on and click the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk icon, which it'll be big, it'll be bright, you'll be able to see it, and or click on it, or maybe a drop-down window. I don't know. We're building a new website too. Don't go to gonzoradio.com right now. Just don't look. Don't look. I don't want anybody to see that. But there was more though. The Lakers drama wasn't the only thing.
No, Kawhi finally signed.
And I told you about C.J. Miles getting traded. But wow, Dwight Howard, what a precipitous fall that was. Bad back, man. That'll get you every time.
Yeah, the big guys are falling. The injuries, and it's just tough.
Well,
the game has changed. It's so physical now. It's so fast, and the bigger guys, they seem to be kind of literally falling by the wayside.
Right. Well, the league has changed. It's drastically changed because of these two guys.
Yeah, the big signing, another one. Kawhi finally said, "You know what? We talked about it. I think he had the entire NBA in his hand this entire time, and he knew. He knew." He's like, I'm going to win a championship, and I'm going to go wherever the hell I want, and we're probably going to win another. So he signed with the Clippers.
If he stays in Toronto, and I mean, that's a power shift. That is literally a power shift.
Yeah.
Look what happens when the power shifts from west to east. The East snags a trophy.
Yeah, apparently this year that's what happened.
So
well, because the West beats each other up all year long.
Yeah.
Golden State came limping into the playoffs. And clearly that was a major factor. And that was the factor. So, style plays. It's interesting to see that because in the West, clearly it's run and gun. And I think you're going to see that more this year. So run and gun, more energy, more minutes, more chance for injury potentially. I know it's a pretty basic approach, but it sounds smart, doesn't it?
That's why the draft is still important.
Yeah.
Especially the first round.
Yeah.
And you get into the second round, you take a shot at developmental players or players that people passed on. Maybe they're a head case or something, but the draft is still relevant, still important because you need those depth players. You need those young guys that are going to come out. They're going to play and maximize their minutes.
High energy guys.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because you're trying to run everybody out of the building.
Yeah.
Speaking of running people out of the building.
What the heck?
This guy, Russell freaking Westbrook.
If you do fantasy basketball next year, you better make it your point to make him your first pick, okay? Because this guy's usage numbers, first of all, when even George was there in the previous years, his usage numbers are off the charts. Now, I'm not necessarily a Westbrook fan. I don't think obviously he's never won anything.
Neither are these guys.
Or any of them for that matter. But just from a fantasy perspective.
4 years of team pictures.
You're getting an angry,
so sad,
highest usage rate in the league guy with a motor that doesn't stop, with a point to prove.
And an ego.
And everything else. And that guy's going to take 60 shots a game next year. And if he's not on your team, good luck. It's going to be like not grabbing the quarterback from the Chiefs this year. If you didn't grab him, you were done. I mean, it's going to be his numbers next year are going to be silly.
Well, there are two rumors being floated right now. The most prominent and realistic being the Houston Rockets showing an interest in Russell Westbrook. The far-fetched one would be the Brooklyn Nets taking a swing, but they would have to mortgage their probably next 4 years of their draft.
Well, I was making statements based upon him staying alone in OKC. I haven't heard any draft or any trade news with him. That's all out there. It's possible. Certainly it'll change. Yeah.
He's already said, I want out.
He's out? Okay. Well, then they're going to get rid of him then.
Nobody wants to play with me. I'm leaving.
Yeah. Well, good luck.
I'm going to go to my buddy's place, the buddy with the beard down in Houston. Hey, and it might be a situation where the kid's misunderstood. Okay, or he is intense.
Yes.
He is intense.
And he's not a bad dude. I mean, he's not like a bad guy. We're not trying to paint a picture like he's some. He's not. He's a family guy. I mean, he's got kids. It's not like he's out there doing. he is a different.
I know he's a
breed
good
to some
he's
degree.
a good dude.
But he's not an
I think
issue like that.
I think he weirds other basketball players out a little bit, makes them uncomfortable.
Maybe, but you know what though? I've also heard, because I watch a lot of Cowherd, he's got a lot of NBA guys on there, that most of the guys that come on and talk about him, about Westbrook, say that he's a team guy. He's not a bad guy to play with. Style play is a little bit different, and certainly they felt like, at least with George, that he matured on the court this year a little bit more. Now, why I say on the court is because, like I said, this isn't a character assassination of Westbrook. It's a performance thing because of the fact he's been one of the most inefficient players in NBA. Even though you look at his stat line every night and he's triple double.
He's launching 50 friggin' shots.
The team's not winning. Okay, so what's more important, triple doubles or getting to the playoffs out of the first round, maybe?
But he's got a guy. He's playing with a guy who was third in the All-Star voting, for Christ's sakes.
Paul George last year at stretches was probably one or two in NBA, and then he got hurt. So
he got hurt and he came back and he was unstoppable.
But I mean,
this is a guy who broke his leg in half.
People were talking about George going to the Lakers originally,
right,
and then building the Lakers foundation around Paul George.
Right.
Okay, the Clippers got extremely lucky here getting him and Kawhi Leonard. I mean, to me, if I was going to make a bet right now and say, okay, who's going to have not only a better record next year, because that doesn't seem to matter as much as more. It's about getting in position, like you said, into the playoffs and being healthy. But if you had to tell me that if you had a 7-game series right now between the Clippers and the Lakers, who are you taking? And the Clippers haven't filled out yet.
And we're talking everybody healthy.
We're talking based upon where they are right now, what you would expect from them. Don't overreach for Cousins and assume he's going to play all 7 games and he's going to be 25-10 guy, because he's not going to be that guy. Okay, because there's going to be issues along the way. I don't think he's even going to be a max minute guy with the Lakers. I think he's going to be a 30-minute max each night on the nights he plays.
Well, let's remember something. Rajon Rondo is a playoff monster.
Okay. Experience by far.
He turns into another player.
Agree.
I mean, he's been steady, if not flashy at times, even in his old age.
And by far smartest guy on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, just smartest guy on the team.
When he gets to the playoffs, he goes, I got a playoff switch for you.
Okay.
Here's 5th gear.
It's good to have guys like Rondo come playoff time.
Yeah.
Agree 100%.
Wow, that is tough, man. Wow, such a toss-up.
For me, it's the Clippers.
Well, for me, it's the Clippers if they get the depth. If they get the depth, they're going to play defense.
That's going to be the difference.
They're going to lock teams down.
Well, to me, that's the difference. Because right now,
it's going to be like playing quicksand.
You have 2 of the best defenders on the same team, in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Give me a good defender on the Lakers.
Well, don't forget they have Patrick Beverley.
It can also defend.
Right. One of the Defensive Player of the Year candidates.
Clippers, to me, it's hands down. I mean, you have to play defense in the finals. It slows down a little bit. All the games that were in, they were like 110, 108.
They'll have those twin towers, and if they work it down,
the twin leaning towers.
But who do the Clippers have for big men?
Who is over there? I'm trying to remember. I'm such in baseball mode right now.
Because teams are going so small. There are teams that don't have 7-footers on them anymore.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Pace of play and style of play now is different.
Speed.
Yeah, and his defense, too. Now, remember, even with Toronto, Valanciunas, he was the 7-footer on the team, but he was only 20 minutes, and he was somewhat defensive liability at a 7-footer.
Right.
7-footers are defensive liabilities now.
Right.
On any team.
I know, but they're a change of pace. Because you start getting beat down low. Oh, yeah, okay, you're going to stop beating us down low.
Yeah,
Why?
but
I'm sending in the guy with the long arms.
But you're also getting the most threes ever shot, too, in the NBA.
Yeah.
And the game also is about transition.
Kick it out.
Transition. And if your big guys can't transition, then guess what? You then therefore become a defensive liability. That's why 3-point percentages are the highest than they've ever been.
Okay.
That's why you got big shooting threes, like a Joel Embiid taking three threes a game.
And that's the reason why, like I said, there are teams that don't have anybody 7 feet tall
that can play like him. I mean, he's a whole different story. But I don't know about the Sixers either. Real quick, though, if we're still on NBA, and we'll probably get to break, I pulled up some of the team totals for next year. And surprisingly enough, the win totals. Total win totals for the entire NBA season.
Line.
And this is Vegas's lines. The Bucks, number 1. That makes sense, right? Utah Jazz, number 2.
They've been quietly building a little bit of a monster out there.
They've been strong, and then we mentioned defense. They're always a strong defensive team. Gobert is a beast down low. He's a true rim stopper.
But they're building a system around him.
Yes, and of course, obviously, some of the trades they made.
Mitchell.
He was good last year too, and I think he'll take another step forward. 3 is the Sixers. Okay, but what caught me was the totals. The Bucks 55.5. Okay, that puts them at 26.5 losses. Okay, so
I take the over.
Interesting, but the Jazz are 2 games less, 53, and the Sixers are at 50. And they're all halves because you obviously need a side. So 55.5 for the Bucks, 53.5 for the Jazz. Sixers are 52.5, and then obviously falls from there. I just think those win totals seem low. I went back and looked at. I looked at last year. 3 teams eclipsed the 55 win mark last year. Okay, 2 of them were in the East. Okay,
right.
So 3 teams last year eclipsed the highest total team they have set up for this year so far, and then there's already a 2-game drop off at the number 2 slot. They have half the teams this year at 41 wins or above. They have half the teams at 41 wins or below. So there's a little bit of variance as you get further in the list, and certainly a lot more grouping. It's very close. They have, ironically, being a Heat guy local, the Heat, they have them at 41 wins, 500, and they have them at 6th in the East this year, if all holds true.
I'll tell you what, 41 is kind of a chicken shit number because it's a team with both great potential, especially if they manage to land another star.
Yeah.
And move some more salary.
If you look at the East over the last several years, even the last 6 or 7 and 8 spot, all those teams have hovered probably even just south of 500. Last year was no different. The Heat were in it to the very end, and they were a game out at sitting at like 2 or 3 games under 500. So, and that, again, will that change this year? Probably not, because the East didn't look like it got much better overall with all the guys moving, especially with Kawhi leaving now. You can't imagine Toronto's going to be as good as they were last year. The Celtics losing Kyrie, even though he wasn't much of a factor. You wonder if they're going to take a step forward next year. So
I just hope Westbrook doesn't come to Miami. That's what I hope. That's the only thing. No.
We'll see. He'll draw.
Don't want him.
People will be excited.
Don't want him.
What if he takes
Mark it down? Mark this podcast down.
I haven't heard anything. Have you heard anything about that?
The reporters are speculating. Miami reporters are go get him. Screw you. One guy wants to give up Winslow, Adebayo, and Hero, even though he's not even signed. But it turns out we can trade him even though he's not signed.
Right. Too much.
And I just say no.
Too much.
That's our starting point guard and our backup point guard once we get rid of
our
Dragic.
Center, because we don't have no longer have right side. Yeah.
It's like
no, I doubt that's going to happen. That's crazy. That's crazy. But
sorry,
again,
no F-bombs anymore. Stop that.
All right. I guess you have to put a little credence in Riley if some sort of move like that were to happen, but I mean, I'm not comfortable with it.
Yeah, neither am I. Especially the price is going to be too much.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
I think
Dragic straight up.
Yeah. Good luck.
Just trade point guards.
I'm a Dragic guy, though.
I love the Dragon.
At one point, here's an interesting stat, because I don't know much about stats. At one point, he had the highest rim efficiency of any point guard in the league. This is up to 2 years ago. Last year, he was hurt a lot.
Statistic I've ever heard.
In terms of a finisher, that gets a lot worse. In terms of a finisher, he had the highest finishing efficiency at the rim of any NBA point guard in the league. Research that. That's true. And by the way,
that's a good thing.
I don't want to say this, but he's white. Oh! Boom! The explosions heard all over the galaxy. Anyway,
break time, home run derby right after this. I didn't beat him on the break, but that was pretty disgusting. I enjoyed it a lot. It was fun. It was funny. That's what we're here. We're here to have fun and have sports and fun and things. And am I convincing?
We're multidextrous.
Yes, ambidextrous.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes, we're multi-talented,
Okay.
multifaceted,
Okay. You can't be multidextrous?
and a little ambidextrous.
Could you be ambi-talented?
Now, I think multidextrous would be you can do things equally with both hands and both feet.
We talked about that. Yeah, then you're probably ambi.
That'd be one of those people that can like walk on their hands for long periods of time,
Right.
and can brush their teeth with their feet. And no. Okay.
Home run.
So, all right. There's a drive.
It's gone.
You might actually make it to work on time today.
Maybe.
Getting right to it, since we are heading into what is essentially known as 4 days of sports hell. We get to see a lot of minor league baseball in these next few days. And
Water polo. Up and coming sport of the future.
NBA Summer League.
Okay.
A little bit.
There's something there.
It's going to get really popular now.
Yeah, there's something there.
Because that's all you're going to be able to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's home run derby time. It's the new national pastime.
Which I love.
Large baseball players swinging bats very, very hard.
Yes.
And knocking the ball over the fence very, very far. Now, there are, wait, let me pop that back up there for you. 8 contestants, but from what I've been made to understand recently as of this afternoon, one of the favorites, Christian Yelich, which could be seen in the top left-hand bracket, he's got back problems.
He pulled out.
He pulled out, and you are just being filthy today. He pulled out, and he's having back problems. He may not play in the World Series. I mean, not
All-Star game. Yeah.
All-Star game.
Yeah.
I am tired. And that's a shame because he's got how many home runs? 25, 27?
26 or 7, yeah. He's killing the ball again. Leader in the clubhouse right now as the MVP again of the National League. Leading in slugging, I think. Maybe second in slugging. But killing it. He's killing it.
Traded him away.
A guy that was thought to only be able to hit ground balls. That was a knock on him, was that he was a ground ball hitter. He didn't have launch. Okay. Anyway. So unfortunately, he's not playing.
We miss you, Christian Yelich. I swear to God, we miss you.
But he got a viable substitution.
Yeah.
Yes.
This young man.
Matt Chapman.
Who has been raking for the A's.
Yes.
And when I say raking, I mean you look at that upward swing. He's been hitting moonshots.
He's got some power.
Yeah, he had a walk-off this week, I believe.
He did.
He had a walk-off home run this week. I remember saying that. I'm like,
did.
oh, I know that guy.
He did.
Because I watch a lot of SportsCenter.
So
he good.
I like the format. I like the whole show. They changed it a few years ago. Now they're on a clock. They do get a timeout. It's just so cool. And I'm really glad that it's all these guys I think are under 25 right now. So they're all kids. They added some incentive, like we said. There's $1 million prize. Ooh. So no, I'm sorry. There's $100,000 prize. I said $1 million.
Okay, good. Can I get in?
$100,000. No, it's $1 million prize. I'm right. Why did I correct myself?
I definitely want in.
It's $1 million prize, first place. So obviously, some of these guys are on rookie contracts, perhaps, and
I might hit one to the warning.
It's going to be fun. It's must watch if you're a baseball guy or if you're just an entertainment guy. It's going to be a lot of fun. They're playing it in Cleveland this year, so they're at Progressive Field,
right?
And I think it's more lefty. If they have a number called the home run index for parks, or their park factors,
right?
And it's more favorable to the left-handed hitters than it is the right-handed hitters in terms of power.
Well, what a coincidence! Because Josh Bell's in this thing.
He is, and he has been a man on fire this year, too.
He is a lefty.
Wow, he's been killing the ball this year. So, you know what's interesting, though? It doesn't always translate. Guys' success, even first-half successes, and how they get there in terms of how they perform in the home run hitting contest. Remember last year, Harper was scuffling a little bit and whatever, but the story when he ran, his father was pitching him, and he ended up winning the home run contest. That was the big feel-good thing. So, again, the balls are coming in at about 65 miles an hour, and it seems to be more the pitcher at that time, locating.
Who can feed him up.
Locating.
Serve him up.
And the hitter, obviously, being able to just launch the ball over the fence.
Sure.
So, from that perspective, a little bit of luck, certainly a little bit of skill. But
that's why that's why a lot of guys bring their BP coach.
Oh, no question. No, there are guys that have been thrown to them the whole time. But in that spot now, a little more pressure, a little more money involved, and I'm just saying it's still a great show. It's always fun. I don't know who's doing the announcers.
Stanton versus Judge was still
beast. Listen, I went back and happened to
ridiculous.
watch the '99 home run contest with McGuire in it and
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Must watch. I mean, it's just so fun. Hearing
The drama.
Boomer call the shots. It's just incredible stuff. So, you want to get to some picks this year? I think it's an interesting format.
Sure. Well, we have a few guys that are legacies.
We got somebody's
he's a legacy.
kid.
You got to take him.
Somebody's kid.
It's a junior. Speaking of Ken Griffey Jr., how about Vladimir Guerrero Jr.?
He is very talented kid.
Look at the lats on this kid.
This kid can swing it.
You can land a helicopter on his back.
Yeah.
He has got a name with 15 letters in it, and he's still got space on the sides of his shoulders.
What number is that? 27 or
27.
200?
Yeah, so it can
Is
be
there
a
something else
4-digit
there?
number.
Yeah. Well,
he is large.
a lot of power. Toronto's got some good players in the organization. They also got the other kid, Biggio's kid, too.
Yeah.
Hitting cleanup for them.
He's also a legacy. You got to take him.
So, although he's not in the contest, but yeah, he obviously is a force. It's going to be good to see how these kids
You know,
perform.
they got Carl Yastrzemski's grandsons playing for the Giants.
San Francisco, yeah.
Yeah. And he doesn't suck.
No, he's good.
Yeah.
He's real good. Yeah.
Hey, carry that name, kid.
A few other guys in the contest. Jock Peterson's
Are
in
you
the
sure
contest.
there's a few?
There's like 8 total.
I mean, I went and got all these freaking pictures.
Oh, the big guy
I
from
like
the Mets.
this guy.
And this guy is a force.
I like this guy. I say he cranked 2 out on the Marlins when they came down here.
Yeah.
That was like the only 2 runs they scored, but he was just like spank.
His home runs
Spank. And he's a righty, so
are prodigious.
yeah, because he's once again with the upward. See how high that bat's coming off.
Country strong.
Oh,
So
just like he should take tree trunks and beat 10-pound boulders over 400-foot walls.
yeah, just these young players are strong. I mean, they're in technique and launch angles, and they're watching film, and these guys are just crushing the baseball.
And they've got once again. Let me. It's the core and the back. Okay, the arms can bring the speed, and they've got good size arms. But you see in the body twist. Okay, I mean, let's going back to this kid, going back to Pete Alonso. Look at the body twist.
Yeah.
Okay, you look at those lats.
Well, your hips have to rotate through the
Yeah.
ball. So, I mean, that's all part of the swing. And everybody swings a little bit different.
Right.
But certainly, no, it's a lot of power from the core, from the legs.
It's not even bat speed. It is literally meeting the ball and enforcing your will on it.
Yeah, well, these guys have a lot of bat speed too.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, they're bat. It's just they're incredible. The talent, like I said, these guys are so well prepared now. It's year-round baseball, no matter where you are.
Yep.
And it's a different game. It's a
beautiful
scientific
thing.
approach now. So, Brave Star kid also. I think he's only 22. Ronald Acuna. He is, I think, one of the longer shots to win it.
Boo! I'm a Marlins fan. Boo!
Not that it means anything. But very talented, very young, very electric, exciting,
Yeah,
and so
he's really good.
plus
I hate him.
stuff. So.
I hate him. He's really, really good. He is.
So you got 4-on-4. They break it down. It's like semis, and then they go to the last 4. And
Yeah,
and
Jock Peterson around here somewhere. Where the hell did he go?
That's my pick. Where's my pick?
All right, I'm getting your pick. Jesus.
Where's my pick? There's my
Happy.
pick.
Here's your pick. Easy.
Jock Peterson.
No hitting me.
The dude has got to swing. I mean, and he never gets cheated when he's facing a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. So I can get a feel what he's going to be up there waiting for a 70-mile-an-hour fastball.
Right.
Great swing, great power. Yeah, he leads off for the Dodgers, surprisingly, but still plus power guy, young, exciting, lefty, like I mentioned, maybe a little bit of an advantage in that park. And he is my pick to win this year's home run contest.
Well, he's a fantastic contact hitter. He's probably got a league leading on base percentage.
I have to look and see.
The power is a pleasant surprise. The power is just a bonus because he is on base all the time, and he is cranking a variety. Wouldn't surprise me if he hit for cycle one day.
It's possible.
Wouldn't-
He's got
wouldn't
speed
surprise
too.
me.
He's got speed.
Yeah, because I mean he's got a good eye, and once again, I mean, as an old school baseball guy, I like even swings. Okay, Jim Thome was talking about that before, about how their swing back in the day, even though it was a power swing, was even because he didn't want to lift the ball. He wanted the speed of the bat to dictate to the ball and carry it out. Okay, Thome is He's a genius level analysis. He's an analyst. He's really, really good, unlike myself. But, I mean, once again, we revisit this kid. Look how straight that bat angle is compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, everybody else, they're facing upwards, and he's almost got like a golf swing. His head is just immobile. It's locked in place. You know, he is a hitter's hitter.
Tons of talent, and he's my pick.
Okay.
So he is my pick. And
I'm surprised Bellinger isn't playing. Isn't in the.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm sure he was invited.
Bellinger's been. Was he up 29 home runs? No, he had 30. He had 30 home runs.
Yeah, and that's a sweet.
That's like an exclusive.
Swing.
That's an exclusive list of people. 30 home runs before the All-Star break.
Yeah, he's got a sweet swing too.
He's ridiculous.
And imagine too, last year he scuffled badly. He looked bad in the playoffs. There was a couple of games, or I think he had 1 or 2 games where he did hit homers, but overall he really got exposed. But this year, I mean, his swing and strike rate is just incredible. Anything in the zone he's hitting, so forget about it. And even his pitch selection's gotten better.
Like
On
Gary
base
Sanchez.
percentage has improved. Obviously his power numbers are through the roof. Totally different guy, and he's only 22, I think. So wow, that's scary. So
well, the Dodgers are building a beast out there.
yeah, they are.
You know, if they can keep Kershaw together for a couple of more years, they might win a couple of World Series.
They've got some other
least
pitchers
play in
too.
them.
Yeah, Dodgers are obviously going to be a force.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of really good baseball being played right now.
Yeah.
And we have no editorial to say bad things about anybody today.
Nothing.
Love everybody. All right, well, we're going to have to go ahead and turn you guys loose. I'm going to go ahead and turn him loose. I have some post-production stuff to do. Make sure you catch us at 6 o'clock up until the 28th of July.
Yes.
So that would be next
Although
week.
the
week
19th,
after.
I'm out of town.
Okay, there'll be no show on the 19th.
Yes. Well, then that
Because I
weekend.
can't do it without him.
That weekend. So we got one more
I
show.
can't come out here and read sports stuff and show you funny pictures.
One more show,
Not
a
without
break,
him.
and then another show, and then
Yeah.
a new start time.
I'll do a show with
Cool.
him on the 19th.
Can't wait.
He's taking his like 5th or 6th vacation.
Yes, we're going to D.C. I'm going to take my daughter to D.C. My wife and I are going to take my daughter to D.C.
Don't let any politicians touch her.
Do a little fun stuff, see stuff.
You might get something on you.
Yeah.
Stay away from those people.
We're not
Just
going,
take pictures and walk by.
We're not going to talk to anybody we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so.
I've been to D.C. a couple of times. Don't
Don't
talk to anybody.
We've been there too. Great town, great city. My nephew actually is in Alexandria, I believe. He's just outside of D.C.
Have you been to Georgetown?
No, I've never been.
Fancy.
So we're going to go see him too.
Fancy.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Okay.
But that's not. But we have one more week to talk about that.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, tell the people how to find you on Instagram.
MLB Joy Us.
He always forgets the at.
At
MLB
Joy Us.
Joy Us.
I wait for you to give me the at.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's always up to me. And at Gonzo Radio Sports Desk on the Instagrams. If you feel so inclined, you can also jump over to at Gonzo Radio Podcast. Also follow us there. We got that show tomorrow night, 8 p.m. with my guest. It's adult film actress Sam Lowry.
Should be a good show.
I'm going to be fully clothed.
Let's hope.
I hope that, as do we all. We'll catch you guys next week at 6 o'clock. Bye.
See